I used to be one of those high strung, very nervous, woundly tight, overachieving individuals. I was like a can of soda that was taken around in a very, violent way, maybe perhaps in a picnic cooler. And all it would take would be to open the can, and I would have just been a nervous wreck. And I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about living in survival mode, how I used to live in survival mode, and the things that I did to get out of survival mode. So, without further ado, here goes. So, I would look really cool on the outside, but inside, I was not cool. I was the opposite of cool. And that is like the definition of living in survival mode. I used to live in survival mode. I was trying so hard to not let my environment affect my life. I was trying so hard to run away from my environment and to make sure that I do not repeat the mistakes that I saw being acted out around me by the people around me. And I tried to push myself as far as I could. And it wasn't until I had a huge wake up call that I realized that that wasn't the purpose of life. And it, this fast paced life was just not for me. If you're anything like me, introverted, independent, and a deep and logical thinker, you might be having similar thoughts to mine. Like, I often ask myself questions like, why am I forcing myself to live a life that's being dictated to me by others, going by ideologies that I do not align with? I also ask myself questions like, to what point is it acquiring all of these possessions and all of these achievements, and not finding contentment in that? And so I got to a point where I began asking myself, how can I live a much more simpler, quiet life that would actually bring me joy and peace and fulfillment? How can I help people around me? How can I make the next person smile? How can I make life just that bit much better? So, here are 5 things that I did to help heal my nervous system and get out of survival mode, out of pilot mode, and to bring more balance to my life. I hope that you will find something useful in this video. And if you actually do find something useful, please, I would like you to give this video a like and drop a comment and let me know if anything resonated with you in this video, and share with someone that you think might benefit from it. Number one is that I got creative. So you have to stop consuming and start creating. There is just so much product out there, physical product, digital products, whatever it is, you name it, it's out there for the taking. We have become so innovative as a society, and that is a great thing. That's a wonderful thing. But then there are needs and there are wants. There are things that are necessities and there are things that are just luxury. And when you consume, you get satisfaction. There's no doubt about that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that satisfaction doesn't last for long. However, when you get creative, your satisfaction levels stay with you much longer because you see what you have created. There's this sense of accomplishment in whatever it is you've created. Now, being creative doesn't mean that you have to be artistic. I'm not artistic myself, but being creative just means that you stop taking things in and you start producing things. You be more productive. I teach language, and I tell my students all the time that it's all well and good to be good at the receptive skills, to learn all of the grammar, to learn all of the vocabulary and everything. But if you're not producing, then you are not building your confidence. You are not, you're wasting your time, basically. So when I talk about creativity, there are a few things that you can do to get creative. Number one is cooking. Cooking is a wonderful way. It's a fantastic way to get creative. It involves your hands and your mind at the same time. And yes, you can multitask when you cook, but even if you're not on your phone, you're not multitasking, you're not doing something else, you're paying attention to what you're cooking. It is a process that brings joy. It is a process that brings contentment anytime. Now, if you don't like cooking, I understand. There are other things that you can do. You could learn a craft, and one really good way to get creative is to assemble your own furniture. That is a great way to get creative. So companies like IKEA, they have made this possible for you. So you put your furniture together, you buy a piece of furniture and you assemble everything together, and you look at your work and it's like a masterpiece. Yes, you're not a carpenter, yes, you didn't create everything from scratch, but still it's your handiwork and you will be pleased about that. And that's why I like such kinds of furniture. I love to put things together. I'm spending time with myself, by myself. I'm not thinking about anything that's going to stress me out. Well, maybe putting up the furniture itself might be a bit stressful, but you're following instructions. You're in the moment. You are slowing things down. You're not on autopilot. You're not just surviving. You are creating. So yeah, get busy with your hands. If you have kids, find time to spend with them and do something together. You can play simple games together, you can play card games together, just do something together. You can cook together. Cooking together with kids is so much fun. Even if you have adult kids, it's also fun. So find a way to create something, find a way to contribute to the things that you have in your life, find a way to contribute to the people in your life, and you never know, it might become bigger. But very importantly, though, don't monetize your creativity if you can avoid it. I'm trying to be creative here on YouTube, and I am monetized, but my creativity isn't linked to the monetization of my YouTube channel. I do have a job that pays me well, and I'm happy with my job. So for me, YouTube is not a job; it's just a creative outlet, and I'm satisfied. So I don't have to have that extra burden on me, that where I'm thinking that if I'm not producing videos, I'm not making money, and then I feel disappointed in myself. I don't have to do that. I don't have that weight on me. It's just a creative outlet. So find something and somewhere where you can express yourself creatively, no matter how small. It does make a huge difference. It does bring you into the present. It does help you see a little bit more value in life, in your everyday activities. So things are not just monotonous. You have something that you are building as well. The number two thing that I did to get my nervous system back on track is listening to your body. So I had to listen to my body and to understand what my body needs and what my body requires. We have to remember that our bodies are our life companions, are our best friends. And we can't escape it. No matter how much we try to go into any form of escapism, we can't escape our physical body. So we have to treat it right. We have to treat it with respect, and we have to understand it, understand what triggers it. So things that I looked out for were my stress signals and my stress indicators. So these are two different things. So a stress signal will be how my body reacts to stress, and a stress indicator would be something that causes stress on my body. So for me, when I start feeling mushy headed, when I start having like brain fog, or when I start getting jittery and I have buttery fingers, I'm dropping stuff, then I know that it's time for me to slow down. Another stress trigger that I have is overthinking. When I start to overthink an idea or a task or a problem, then I know that that problem, that thing is stressing me out. So I know I learned over the years what brings my body stress, and then I learned how to cope with those stress triggers. So you will have to learn your body, and you will have to know what triggers you. So is it someone, is it an activity, is it a kind of video, is it a voice, is it a noise? Whatever it is, you have to learn what brings you stress. And then you have to check your vitals very often. So check your heartbeat, check your blood pressure. When you're young, these things are not foremost to your mind, but I believe that once you get into your 30s, that it's something that you should create a habit of checking. Habits are things that stay with us forever. So if you create a habit early, then it will be something that will follow you as you grow older. So check your vitals as often as possible. So that could be once a month. Okay, you want to know what your heartbeat is, your resting heartbeat. You want to know if you are too sedentary, if you need to move, if you need to get some nutrients into your body. You want to know if you have low blood pressure, because this is something that many ladies suffer from and they have no idea. They just think that maybe it's because I'm on my period. Maybe it's just that time of the month, or maybe I'm just going through some other kind of emotional stress. Having low blood pressure could be a symptom of something more serious. In my case, I had low blood pressure. I had heart palpitations. And when I went to do blood work for the first time in I don't know how many years, I found out that I had very low ions. And I was able to get myself diagnosed, and I was able to sort out the issue that was wrong with my body. So if we are not taking care of our bodies, what's the point? Because if I'm not taking care of my body and the worst case scenario happens to me, then what's the point of rushing through life? What's the point of trying to gain all of this wealth and gain all of the recognition and all the achievements in life if I won't be here to enjoy them, right? So pay attention to your body, please. Number three is that I decluttered my life. It is important to declutter not only physically, but also emotionally and mentally. So I'm going to explain that. We all know how to declutter our lives. There are so many videos out there that are talking about decluttering. In recent years, a minimalistic lifestyle has become, very trendy and very popular. So we know what physical decluttering is. However, many people neglect the emotional and mental side of decluttering as well. So here are some of the things that I did. I have quite a long list here. So first, I reduced access to me by people who ramp up my insecurities, anxieties, and fears. So I've spoken about avoiding people in the past and not so good relationships I've had with other people. And not until I started distancing myself somehow from these people did I start feeling like the weight was off of my shoulders. Did I start feeling less insecure? So I don't mean like completely going no contact. I don't mean like avoiding people because you hate people, or be bitter and vindictive against people. No, that's not what I mean. I mean that you should be able to say no, know when to say no to certain people. People like, for example, people who are emotional dumpers. They just come and dump on you. They use you as a sounding board all of the time, and it's just too much for you because you have your own burden and your own shit that you're going through. You also have to try to avoid letting people in who ramp up your insecurities. So people who comment on how you look, people who comment on where you are in life at this moment, people who make you feel as if you are just behind or that whatever you do is not good enough. You also have to try to reduce access from people who criticize you, and people who flaunt their achievements in your face. People who just want you to see, hey, I just got this, I just did that, I just went there. If these things bring up any sort of negativity in you, then you have to avoid those kinds of people. The next thing is to de-influence yourself. This is also, again, mental decluttering. So you de-influence yourself by not following celebrities, not following what are they called, influencers. I don't think I've ever followed an influencer before, like a really big influencer. I don't think I've ever done that. But that's because earlier on, because I am a millennial, so before influencing became a thing, there was a celebrity, fan base and all of that. And I was a fan of many celebrity. For example, shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I remember watching them. Shows like Big Brother. I remember watching those, and I was fascinated by them. It was new, and it was very captivating, obviously. And I soon came to the realization that these people are living their own lives, mostly on their own terms. They are being creative. They are go-getters. They are achieving something, and they are commodifying my attention. And I wanted to get that power back. I wanted to get my agency back. I just felt like I was wasting my time. I was wasting my life, and I was putting them on a pedestal. And I was lacking whenever I put myself next to those people. There was just something wrong with me. Maybe I wasn't funny enough, I wasn't fun enough, or I wasn't outgoing enough, or I wasn't rich or pretty enough. And I just knew that that had to stop. So I stopped watching reality TV shows, those kinds of reality TV shows. I stopped following celebrities on my social pages, and that just automatically bled into influencers as well. So I don't follow the big influencers because I don't really need to be influenced. I want to be able to have my own agency, to be able to make my own decisions, make my own mistakes. I want to be able to just be my own self, and I think that when you're your own self, you get out of survival mode because you are not just relying on external validation. You're not relying on someone else making daily decisions for you, someone telling you what to buy, what to do, where to go. You are taking charge of your own agency. So you have every power to either fasten the pace of your life or slow it down, whatever you wish, but it's all up to you. For some people, I know it's difficult to make decisions by themselves, but it's just something that you have to learn how to do. Otherwise, you're just completely going to lose yourself. You are going to be lightening your soul. You're going to be able to hear yourself think. You're going to drastically reduce decision fatigue. You are going to be able to improve your critical thinking abilities so you can think for yourself. You can make your own decisions yourself. You can make informed decisions for yourself. And you can be more autonomous in how you decide to live your life. So, the fourth thing on my list is to bring home less work. You want to create clear boundaries between work and home life. You don't want those two things to overlap. Now, you might love your job. I do love my job, but despite the fact that I love my job, it was bringing me a lot of stress. It was putting me in a really bad position because I would eat, sleep, drink my job. It was the last thing I would think of before I went to bed and the first thing I would think of when I woke up. Sometimes I would dream about my job because I do love my job, but my job is not my life. There's this saying that you have to work to live and not live to work. So if you find your self identity tied to your job, then, I mean, for some people, it does work because it's their life purpose. But if you feel that it is putting too much of a strain on you and it's not the direction that you want your life to go in, then you have to create clear boundaries. Now, I do understand that some people are business people, some people are entrepreneurs, and you work from home maybe, and you are the boss of your job. And when you work for yourself, it's very difficult to create that boundary. But you just have to find a system that will work for you. So maybe you should set up some regulations, like in a regular employment. This is when you start and this is when you stop. You should also be able to tell people when they can contact you, when is your office hours, and when it's out of office hours. If you have a family, you want to be able to have time to spend with your family. So make a clear delineation between work time and home time, hobby time. So you don't want to risk burning out. So obviously, the benefit for this is that you bring more balance to your life. You are able to clearly separate your self worth as a person, as an individual, from the work that you do. And finally, what I did was I gave myself permission to laugh at myself. I gave myself permission to be cringe. I gave myself permission to make mistakes and to bounce back from my mistakes. I gave myself permission to give up on some things. I give myself permission to be curious in life, to bring back that sense of, childlike wonder, which I think many of us lose as we grow older. And it is very understandable because that's what the world does to you. As soon as you grow old enough to take care of yourself, you start realizing that, oh my gosh, things are difficult, things are hard, life is hard, and we lose that child wonder. And that's a shame, really. It's a shame because when you are curious, you get more creative. When you're curious, you are experimenting. When you're experimenting, you are in the moment. When you are in the moment, you are living. That's the point. We should live no matter our circumstances, no matter our background. We have to find a way to live this life, this very version of your life. There's just one of it, and you don't want to waste it because we just never know what's going to happen tomorrow. We just never know what's going to happen in a couple of years, in 5, 10 years. So we want to be able to live in the present with as little distractions as possible. So yeah, so the benefit of this is that you are able to forgive yourself more when you make mistakes. So you are more forgiving of yourself. You build a mind of curiosity and adventure. You keep that alive. You're able to be more multidimensional in your way of thinking, in your mindset, in your daily activities. You are able to reduce performance related anxiety. So that is that you're not setting yourself up for failure. You're just setting yourself to experiment. You're setting yourself to experience life in all of its fullness, in all of its glory, in the ups and downs. You are being present. I know I keep saying that you're being present, but you are simplifying things, and it's so much more enjoyable when things are left less complicated, at least for people like me. So, guys, those are the things that I did to reset my nervous system, to stop living in autopilot, and to get out of survival mode. If you found anything of value in this video, please let me know. Put that in the comment section, and remember to keep living in the present and to be the best version of yourself. Woo! Always. So until the next video, my name is Isabella, and ciao ciao.